Today we're at my home. We're going to open up some top bar hives and some Langstroth hives. John's going to do the Langstroth, I'll do the top bar, and we'll see how things go today and show you guys what's going on. This is a nuke box that we made. We're moving around top bar. So we're going to look in this first so we don't have to go digging into the one with actual bees in it. So the top bar is basically just a trough. Just an angle trough. This is 30 degrees. It's just the same angle that's on the hives when they make their cells. And each bar has a strip of wood, and we coat that with wax. And the bees actually learn or know to draw their comb off of that right in the center. And as you can see, they all fit together like this. And this is what a full one would look like when it's all drawn out. You can see that some of the cells are bigger than other cells. They put honey in the bigger ones and they put brood in the smaller ones. And these all just go in here. The bees know what to do with it. You put them all together. And that's really basically what a top bar hive does. This is called a follower board. As the hive grows, you can make it a little bit bigger and add a bar. Just like that. Sometimes if the brood is getting a lot of brood, I'll put one right exactly where the brood is, and then they'll start to make another brood comb, and then the hive will just keep growing, and then obviously eventually it'll have to be split because it's going to get too big. But that's pretty much it.
Let's talk about the entrance over here.
All right, the entrance. This is something we had made. This is 6-inch long slot. It's 3/8 inch wide. You don't need a mouse guard because it's metal. The mice can't chew through it. That's what we've done for this problem. We never have to put an entrance reducer in it or anything like that. This seems to work out really, really well. Well, we haven't been in here for a while, so I really don't know what we're gonna see in here. A couple of ants, but that's not a big deal. So this is basically what it looks like. All shut down. They've sealed up all these gaps with propolis. So we're going to start just yanking it apart and see what happens. These are all just filler boards. And here's the follower board. So this is basically how big the hive is right now. As it would grow, we'd add more and just keep bringing this board. So this is a top bar tool. It's kind of a weird. There's like one company in the whole world that makes these things. We'll just crack that open like that. So this is just the start of comb they're drawing out right now for honey.
How does it take for them to draw one of those bars?
A couple days, really? 2 or 3 days. Yep. And usually with this on the honeycomb, they tend to make it stick to the sides because it's pretty heavy. So if you get in there like this, you can actually just kind of give it a little slice like that. And right now I'm not using any smoke yet because they haven't got angry. So that's a full bar that they've made everything on this.
So when you're holding it differently than like a Langstroth, right?
Yes.
To move right
yes.
there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
You can't hold these sideways if they're full because they'll snap off. So you got to kind of follow the gravity of the world here, and kind of do that. But yeah, so that's what they do. Now that's all nectar in there. So eventually, with this humid weather we've had, it's hasn't been exactly the best. So the good thing about these is you can just kind of open up a little bit at a time, and they don't really seem to care normally. And I'm not picking up 50 pounds of box. So that's all full. That'll be capped honey eventually for them.
So Glenn, if I recall,
Yes, sir.
what's the setup for how the bees do this? Is it the same? Like, is there honey in the back?
Yeah, no, well, normally that big one over there, for some reason they didn't follow that order, but
Right.
generally it's the broods in the front, because the entrance is right down below us here. The brood, and it slowly works to just be honey stores on the back half. So that way you know where you're kind of working. For some reason, once in a while they change it up.
Do they put honey on the sides like a regular Langstroth?
Yes, yes.
And then, I think you mentioned this, but as they grow, you're moving that follower
Yep,
board. and adding more,
this follower board, yep.
Adding more bars.
Bars, yep. So this board here, the holes in it are in the. I can put a feeder jar in here, a glass jar, so you really don't have to go into the hive or into the hive anywhere. You can just put a glass jar with the food in there, the sugar water or whatever you're going to feed it.
And the pro with this is, like I said, you're not lifting 50 pounds.
Yes.
The con is
You don't get it.
extract these, you can't
Right,
crush them.
right. You don't get as much honey really because it takes them longer because they have to remake all this comb you're taking. You can get I get a lot of wax, and I get a lot of cut comb. See, so that's all honey at the top, all capped already. And that's about, each of these bars is about 8 to 10 pounds of honey normally, somewhere in that range. But see, I didn't smoke them today so far. So they're pretty gentle when you start digging in here, and if you're careful not to squash anybody. This is when it starts getting they start getting a little mad. When you start getting closer to the brood area and having to move these guys out of the way, they start. Yeah. So that's heavy right now. That's got to be 10 pounds of honey right there. And you see the hole in the center, the holes at the top, they use those to like little tunnels. They go from comb to comb, so they don't have to go all around. It's like a passage they use. You want to see how heavy that is? Do you care how heavy that is?
Haven't met Miyakura.
Yeah, or anybody.
Oh yeah, so it's got a good weight to it.
Yeah. Yeah, when you see the holes in it. Yeah.
That's my great gift, the blooper reel.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, sometimes just the queen cells will be over here if they're making queen cells, but right now there's nothing quite yet. So that's good. I'm gonna hit them with a little smoke just to make them chill out just a bit. Again, that's not going to be all honey. You see how large the cells are versus regular cells that they would put brood in. The cells are much larger than. That's all going to be honey. There's another bar of honey now. So I leave about 5 or 6 bars of honey for them for the winter. And again, it's all honey. And what I get a lot of this is cut comb. People really like the cut comb. Just a big square. Yeah, this was an experiment. There's no way to feed one of these hives in the wintertime to get the sugar and stuff really underneath the brood. So this here, right now, it's probably water's going to come out of it. No, nothing really. Sometimes condensation comes out. The thought was to be able to pour sugar in there, or put a pollen patty, roll it up like a fruit roll up. It didn't really make it much of a difference. So that's just. Okay, we're starting to see some brood, so we're getting to the brood now. But again, you see all the honey at the top, just like a regular hive. So this queen's doing pretty well. She's got it doing pretty well. And as you get to the brood, for whatever, I believe it's just because the honey weighs so much, they don't tend to stick to the sides. So you really don't have to scrape off the sides. Be nice to find the queen, but I don't know. She was a marked queen. There isn't a ton of brood yet. They stop laying this time of year a little bit too.
They will. The queens will take a break if it's too hot. It's been that hot though.
Yeah.
They do slow down.
They're getting a little mad now. Easy girls, easy girls. And anything like that, they'll clean that up and fix all that. And again, you can see all the passages they make just so they can get back and forth without having to go up the mountain, down the mountain. That's good. There's a lot of brood on that. And we do treat for mites with the top bars. I'll show you that after. So that's going to be honey. There's a little brood in there, but that's a lot of honey. But it's crazy that in 3 days they can make one of these combs. This hive's doing pretty good. Pretty much keep going. Get rid of your friend there. Just go along. The last bar here is another follower board. Because what happens sometimes is they'll attach the last frame to the side of the box, so you would never get it out unless you had the follow board. You would never get the last bar out. basically just slowly slide them back in and try not to squish them. As you can see, they start to hang. They're going to hang like a level. They'll make a loop of bees, and that's they make that way they can make the comb straight. It's almost like they use it as a level. So there'll be a string of bees hanging from leg to leg, and that's how they follow to draw the comb as straight as they can.
So that bar is a little bit wider. Why is that?
It's just a spacer. Right now, I don't want to close it up all the way because there's so many bees. I'm going to squash them, trying to slide it back in. So I'm just going to let them go back to where they. And next time I go, there's enough stuff for them to build on right now. They won't build on that bar. You got to have a lot of spacers and things like that. You need to have this as tight as you can because the bars will start to warp. Just want to show you before we go on to the other hive. There's really no way to put a light strip on top of these bars because they're all tight together. There's no gap. So on this one here, what we've done is we made a pocket out of the bottom board, and you can actually put a strip right in here with your mite solution on it. Paper towel, whatever you decide to use. A mite strip will fit right in here, and then you can slide the whole thing in back into the hive like that. What you have to remember is to open up the other side so you get ventilation, because it's right close to the bees right now. It's very strong. So unless you open the other side, you're going to have some problems. The bees don't like it very much. So as long as you open the other side, you're good to go.
Hey guys, John Grace here and my daughter Cora Grace. We're going to do an inspection of a Langstroth hive. A lot of people have asked us to do this as a field day. We can't because of social distancing, so we need to do this virtually. We're also going to do a mite check using the MDAR jars that they give out. So let's get that started. So this is Glenn's Langstroth hive. As you can see, he's got 2 deeps and then 2 mediums for honey. Typical setup. What you want to do is, I always do, is give them a little heads up that you're coming. It's a little bit of smoke. I prefer the J hook tool. This is actually Glenn's tool, so I'm not contaminating, have a chance of contaminating his hive with my hive, germs or viruses, whatever. I usually don't wear gloves when I check my hives, but these are Glenn's bees. I don't know the attitude, their temperament, so I'm not wear my gloves unless I take them off at some point. This is a very aggressive top of weight, but that's what he uses. So he's going to take off the outer cover slowly. Again, with bees, you're going to be very slow. I didn't give him a little smoke, just to let him know you're coming. Now Glenn's doing something different here, but I always have my notch facing downwards in the front so that airflow can come in and go out the top and the front. If you have it on the back, the air's gonna come through and cross the brood. So you want that notch in the front facing down. And I'll fix that for him later so that you all can see it. So you want to open this away from you so that if the bees fly out, then it's a little puff, just to let them know you're coming, calm them down. So he's got these medium, so we'll just check these out. The thing with this J hook is you really can use these to leverage up the frames. When you ever do an inspection like this or opening up a hive, you want to work yourself from the outside in, because that way you don't have a chance of rolling any queens or bees. He just said he extracted this honey a few weeks ago, so there won't be any honey in here. But you can see the technique I'm using. I'm pulling apart from the outside, working my way in, and I'm sliding this back and up, so I'm not rolling the queen. There's some nectar in there. Bees are bringing in. I'd say it's probably another few weeks he could probably extract again. Some amount of honey there. They're starting to cap it. With the honey capping, it's very smooth. With the brood, which you'll find, I hope, it's very convexed. So I'm putting back frames. I'm putting them down and I'm sliding forward so that I don't squish the queen or roll the queen. So down and forward. And you want to use this kind of a little bit of little room, squeeze them in. You get to know by their weight if they're ready to extract. And he's probably got 15, 20 pounds there. But it's not ready, it's not capped, so maybe a few weeks. Yeah, some good amount of honey here. There's a yellow jacket. So he's using wood frames with wax foundation, and you can see they're starting to cap this, and they're moving it this way. You have to be careful with this wax inside of an extractor, because if you start spinning it, you could actually, the weight of this honey could push through the walls. So you have to go slow and then turn it and go slow and go turn it and go slow and turn it before you, when you're extracting it, so you don't blow honey through the walls. But that's, yeah, but that's actually probably ready to extract. This next one looks really nice. That's your typical like honey, beautiful capping, nice and uniform. Not sure why he hasn't extracted this yet, but it's ready. That's a beautiful frame of honey right there. You can kind of see there's different types of nectar here. There's like the darker stuff on the bottom and lighter stuff, because whatever they're bringing back, it's different colors.
There's no problem leaving it there. It's not going to do anything.
No. Beautiful frames though. Typically like 2.5 to 3 pounds, sometimes more, up to 5 pounds of honey per frame. I'll push that in. So he's got probably 25, 30 pounds of honey here, ready to extract. Now we're inside the deeps. This is their domain. This is where they keep their honey, their babies, their home. Anything above that's for you. It's your rent. People don't know this, but that hook, which you don't have, that hook is for you to leave this on top of your hive. Little resting spot. So again, we're working ourselves. You can get that yellow jacket out of the way. The bees will chase them out, but you're working yourself out to in so you don't roll the queen. Now when you're doing an inspection, that's nice frame of honey. They tend to do the frame of, they do tend to put the honey on the edge, kind of insulation. So you're looking for, of course, is your queen if you can find her. There's a lot of bees in here, so sometimes it's hard to find the queen. Another frame of honey. You're also looking for a good laying pattern. You're looking for any kind of thing that's unusual, like anything looks wrong. You're looking for, of course, swarm cells and supersedure cells. So some brood here. As you can see, the bees, what they do is they make a rainbow of honey on top. There's the queen. And then they do their brood in the bottom. And they, queen looks good. She's, very long, very fat. She's typically on the frames that don't have any eggs in them. And they typically say that she will not cross honey, but she is the queen. Do whatever she wants. Queen looks great though. Trying to see if we can get her to lay. So she's going around. She's trying to find that most perfect cell. She wants to put an egg in. These are old swarm cells, or can be, just sometimes they like to make them. So she's actually measuring and checking the inspection work of the bees, make sure they're nice and clean. So we know where she is now, so we're gonna be careful. I haven't seen the eggs yet, so we're gonna keep on inspecting. Good amount of brood there. Not the best brood pattern, as you kind of see it's spotty here and there, but she's still laying a lot.
What makes you skip that like that?
She doesn't like it, or yeah, or she's just spotty, or. So you can see there's some eggs in here. Might be hard to see on the camera. So these are actually pretty new eggs, and the reason why I know that is when queen lays an egg, they're like this. They're perpendicular to the frame, and as they start to get older and older, by day 3 they kind of fall down and they're laying down. But these are straight up in the air. So she just laid these probably even this morning.
Let's see if I can get it.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. We got him.
There's a
Top bar hive like that.
yeah.
Hive frame like that.
There's a bee emerging. Where is it? Right there.
I see another one too.
Happy birthday.
Okay, let's see if I can get in there close.
So there. The females of the workers have to chew their way and push their way out. The drones or the males get help from the other bees. You can see how, so this is honey. It's nice, smooth, level capping. And with the brood, it's kind of a convex dome. And you want to make sure you're looking at it that it's nice and uniform. It's not sunken in. That can lead to a virus or other problems.
How long is it going to take her to eat her way out of that?
It's going to be a while, yeah. What's that? Happy birthday.
Where's the little bee?
Yeah, she's coming out. Look how new she looks, nice and fuzzy, and see how fuzzy she is compared to the rest of them?
Yeah.
She's gonna start ready to work now.
Awesome.
Oh, there's
So-
one over there.
So that's a worker. There's a drone. They're much bigger and fatter. Their eyes are much bigger. In a month or so, the drones will start getting kicked out because the bees don't want to feed, the workers don't want to feed them all winter. So we have the, this is our jar. There's two bits to this jar. There's the cap and then there's the screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to get about a half a cup or 300 bees plus or minus in here and then pour some alcohol. It's tough finding alcohol these days, so maybe some vodka or Everclear, whatever you got. It's going to kill 300 bees, but you're doing this to check for mites. So we're going to put the bees in here, scoop some up, put the alcohol in, cover this up. We're going to shake this up for a few minutes, really agitate them. A lot of the mites you can't see, they're actually underneath the belly of the bee, inside of all their folds. So we're going to shake this up for a while to really get those mites off of here aggressively. We're going to sit it upright, let things settle a little bit. We're going to take off the lid and just have the screen. And then we'll pour out the alcohol, and hopefully a lot, and hopefully, not hopefully, but we'll be able to see some mites. And we'll do a count, and that way we'll know, out of 300 plus or minus bees, we have this many mites. Depending on your threshold, you may want to treat. If it's 1 or 2 mites, you should be okay. If it's 10 mites, you're not okay. So it's really up to your threshold and what you feel comfortable with mite count. I do this throughout the year, but I always treat for mites anyway, whether we like it or not. We have to treat for mites now. I'm actually hoping this year to get the whole entire county to treat at the same time, because the mites will just leave this hive and go to a different hive down the road. But if we all treat at the same time, they can't do that.
That's coming soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do, this may be interesting.
Okay.
It's like working with children, right? Some rum. What we're going to do is we're going to pull the frame kind of close to the, what's a fancy one? We're going to pull the frame kind of close to the brood, or has brood. We're going to make sure and be very sure about it that the queen is not on here, so we don't want to kill her. It's hard to really find the queen, but if you can look for signs of her, she's not going to be where there's lots of legs and larvae already. She's going to be on those empty frames. Look for that circle of bees around her court taking care of her. I don't see her. Glenn, do you see her? So yeah, so she's definitely not here. So what we're going to do, we're going to dump, kind of thump and dump the bees on here and then try to scoop them up. At least 300 of them, or half a cup, as quick as we can, without breaking his bowl. That's about 300. Yeah. We're putting some alcohol in here. As you can see, the bees got very agitated. So plus or minus a half a cup or 300 bees and enough alcohol to kill them. Again, you're sacrificing 300 bees for the good of the hive. Yeah, you have about 60,000 bees in that hive, on a good hive. So Corey, you want to shake this for me while I put the bees away? Just shake, shake, like a Polaroid picture. Yep. As you see, they get very agitated. Once you start killing bees, the other bees don't like it. So I'm going to put this hive away while we're waiting for those mites to come off the bees. Again, I'm just putting I'm putting the frames in from the outside and push them forward so I don't roll the queen. Hive looks good.
At this point, there's no reason to check it out.
No, yeah, so That's a good point. We found the queen, we found eggs, we found larvae. So we know that the queen's alive. We saw her. We know that she is has a pretty good brood pattern. There's enough bees here. So it seems like it'd be a healthy hive. This is why I have back problems and need bee sting therapy for my back, because I'm lifting up 30, 50 pounds of honey. So what I tend to do is put these on and slide them forward, because the bees will kind of move out of the way. You are going to kill a few bees in the process. It's nature of the beast. And what I do is notch in the front, facing down. That's it. And then you put your outer cover on, push it forward so that there's a little bit of air gap there. And again, your flow can come up and out, and you don't get as much moisture problems. You shaking, shaking, shaking? How many mites are going to be in here?
None.
Maybe 6.
6, that's not good. You want no mites. So you want to shake them pretty well, because again, those mites can hide underneath their belly and their carapaces. And now we just have this, we took the cover off, we have this the screen. We're just going to dump these out. And hopefully, I see one mite so far. 2.
3. 4.
I'm not sure if that's... I just can't see, yeah, my mask on. I see 2 mites. I think just those 2 are the mites.
That one's dissolving.
Yeah. So let's say 2 mites.
All right.
So you wouldn't treat then? There's no need to treat right now?
Me personally, I would not treat. I would treat though in a month or so when it's time for everyone to treat. But 2 mites out of 300 bees is not too bad. I think the threshold that I've read about is 3 plus. So you're just on that threshold. But yeah, no, it looks good.
The what? The bottom board?
Yeah.
Honestly, I just leave it in. So
Yeah, it's your style. I mean,
I don't really.
I take it out because you want more airflow in the summertime.
I mean, oh, we can take it out.
The bees look so black.
A lot of stuff going on here.
So that's just an insert. Oh, that's just an insert
Chickens.
that goes in the back of the hive. I prefer to leave it out in the summertime because it lets airflow in and reduces moisture, which reduces ants, which reduces airwigs and everything else. These are good in the winter. The other problem too with these is you can get bits of larvae and it will attract wax moths. This is also a good spot to check for mites. They're kind of like a cranberry or a cherry red. I don't see any right away. Yeah, but it's good for the chickens, like Glenn said. Give them these ones, give them a little drunk.
No, thanks. Come on, lady.